This is an uncensored podcast about sex, sexuality, gender, and body stuff. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the person or persons sharing them. Some names have been changed to protect the anonymity of its participants. Hello, friends. It is I, Drew Michael, and this is a very special Make Sex With Me. This is a replaying with some new edits of an episode um, from season 1. It was actually the first ever episode that we recorded with Priscilla Toyota. It was her debut. And I am playing this episode this week because, and while doing these edits while lying in my bed, the same bed that, um, okay, there's no way to like combine those two sentences, but okay, this is great. On the day, it was actually the night that we recorded this first Priscilla Drew episode. We were in this same bed in my room recording on an iPhone with my dog, Tulsi, in the bed with us, and Leela in the bed with us. So Leela, a pit bull, I don't know how much Leela weighed. My dog, a Chihuahua, 10 pounds, 3 pounds overweight. Leela was probably like 30 pounds. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, this was a rare occasion that Leela and Tulsi were getting along, and I'm not sure. I think they only got along for like the length of our recording. Um, but anyway, earlier this week Leela passed away, and I wanted to do a little tribute to her because she was an amazing dog. She was like the most adorable, sweetest pit bull, like totally changed my mind about pit bulls. Um, it was ridiculous. And of course, I fell in love with her at the same time I fell in love with Priscilla. So, I really believe that like our dogs are a big part of our lives. Um, my dog and Leela, they both like inserted themselves in so many recordings throughout like the first couple seasons of this podcast, and of course my dog continues to insert herself any way she can. um and it changes things. It makes things so much more personal. I think like people who like animals like to talk and listen to other people that like animals. It's just love, you know. Animal lovers are lovers, and loving animals is the right thing to do. And animals, especially dogs, are like nothing but love. It's insane how much a dog can love you. And how excited a dog is when like you come home at the end of a long work day, and I mean you're just like dead tired, and they're just like, this is the high point of their whole day, is you coming home from work. I mean, dogs are fucking awesome, and cats sometimes too. Anyway, um I really, really just am gonna miss Leela. I know that Priscilla and Leela moved across the country um, almost 2 years ago, which is insane to say. Um, and they came back to visit um, once and maybe even twice. I can't remember. I think maybe twice. Um, and I'm so happy that I got to see Leela one last time. Um, I'm not even really sure how old she was. She was an older girl, but she was rescued. Priscilla rescued her along with her boyfriend Viv. Um, and I already told Priscilla this earlier this week, but I'm like, you guys were like, you guys saved her. Like she saved you too, but you saved her. Like that was probably the best home she'd ever known. I know that in the first year that they had Leela, they paid for her to have like both of her hind legs like repaired, like her knees were shot and she had to have like a knee replacement, like dog knee replacement. um I remember like Priscilla cooking Leela like so much like delicious homemade like dog food, like chicken and like I don't know, spinach or something. It was like, wow, you making me look like a shitty dog owner. Um, she just loved her so much. And anyway, my heart goes out to Priscilla and Viv and just everyone that Leela touched. She was like such a special dog. And I miss Robin Hobewi, and I miss like this one time when we went to Asheville and I literally like spooned Leela all night long. And at that time I still wasn't so sure that she wasn't gonna kill me. So I'd like would like just spoon her very gently and then like just be like, okay, let's go to sleep. Nobody's gonna maul anybody's face off tonight. Good night, sweet angel. And of course, nothing happened because Leela was a sweet little baby angel. So anyway, um, this one's for you, girl. And love you, Priscilla. And this listening to this episode, re-editing this episode, um, was such a joy. I mean, just remembering this recording when this happened, at the kind of like the dawn of our friendship, the dawn of COVID. Um, it was like 2020 and we were like about to watch Tiger King. We were like all about Love is Blind season 1, which we referenced in the end. Um, and we just there was just so much exciting stuff that was like in our future as friends and it just was really nice. And you can hear Leela snoring throughout most of the episode. And I think Tulsi like hit the microphone twice with her ear or something. It was just like perfect. And I didn't want to take any of that out. And I'm so glad that we did it. So anyway, guys, all the normal stuff, rate, review, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. But enjoy this episode. And yeah.
My name is Priscilla, and it's spelled Priscilla.
Not with a C first. Is it SIC?
P-
Oh, SC.
Priscilla.
Damn it. Well, I spelled it wrong. Yes.
Ooh.
Well, it's like really.
Is it sweet?
It's nice. You want to taste it?
Yes.
But it's also kind of like potent.
Oh, no, I'm not a fan of that. You want to try mine? I'm not really that. I'm not really that into mine either.
Wait, why is it?
It's wrapped in plastic.
The can is wrapped in plastic?
Yeah, it's really deceiving. I thought it was just a pink aluminum can.
But it feels like there's Pop Rocks when I try to squeeze it.
Yeah.
Was it full of Pop Rocks? Yours is nice.
You like it? I think it's better than yours.
I kind of like mine, but Do you see me like continuing to turn this can around a million times because I'm trying to learn more about it, but there's not really, it doesn't offer me much more information.
It says day drinking, that's all you need.
But I guess, what am I trying to figure out?
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. I'm always trying to figure out what's in it, but they don't let you know with alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually it's just a certain percentage of alcohol.
It's just a wine spritzer.
Yeah.
It's not Red Bull.
Mm-mm.
Because if there was Red Bull in this, I would be flying off the fucking walls in like 5 seconds. We could talk about anything.
Do you want to open with something saucy? Like,
yeah.
How...
Like celebrity sex gossip?
No, but like before we started this, I asked if you've seen an uncircumcised penis.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, let's definitely talk about
that. Well, let's talk about that every day. It'd be great. Yes, I have. And, you know, I can't really recall the first one I saw. But I can't really recall the first one I did stuff with. I know I was probably obsessed with it. So I became obsessed with uncircumcision or being uncircumcised like when I was like in high school, and I was so sad that I had been circumcised, and there was like I still am. Oh. But like when I was like a teenager, I got really interested in foreskin. Of course, I looked at a lot of pictures. I was looking at a lot of pictures of dicks anyway. My whole teenagehood, I was just like glued. Like the minute the internet happened, I was just like, oh, I can look at dicks more now. Like it's great for me and dicks. Yeah, I was really upset, and I had this idea to like, I wanted to start like a little club at my boarding school for like guys that wanted their foreskins back, and I made like a t-shirt, and it had a picture of a scalpel, and it said IWMFB, I want my foreskin back.
Oh my god, really?
And it was like a really cute shirt.
Oh my gosh.
And it didn't catch on, like nobody else.
People are pretty pleased with their circumcised penises.
Well, then the other thing is, in high school, if you're uncircumcised, you don't, like, in this country, you don't want anyone to know.
Yeah.
So it's not like people would be, like, coming out and talking about it if they weren't. But I prefer it on my partners. Like, it's a big deal for me. I've actually had really awkward sex with guys who were cut, and, like, really nice sex with guys who are uncut.
What makes it awkward when they are, like, what is the difference?
Well, the foreskin is supposed to move back and forth as the shaft of the penis goes in and out of the partner. So basically, when you cut it, it doesn't do that. So you have more friction when there's no foreskin to move up and down. Like the foreskin would stay, like it would go in and it would stay put with the walls of like the vagina or the butt or whatever, or the ear. I don't know what they're putting it in.
What hole it's going into.
Yeah, maybe your ear hole. But then the shaft of the penis is moving in and out, but the foreskin stays with the hole.
You know,
Does that make sense?
I've never thought about it. So like my boyfriend is not circumcised, right, and I've never thought about how his anatomy just like works with mine.
It's designed to work with yours.
Ah.
Yeah. And especially when you're having anal sex, because an anus is not self-lubricating, and it's a lot tighter. I mean, I don't know how tight a vagina is, but I'm assuming a butt's a little tighter.
Butt's definitely tighter than vagina.
I mean, you have them both, so you could vouch. But yeah, it's really nice. I just remember I've had sex where I felt like somebody was stabbing me with a sword, and I was like gonna bleed out all over the rug. And then I've had sex with a guy who was uncut, and it felt like I was just like being penetrated by clouds, and I was like a cute little Care Bear.
You noticed a difference because he was intact.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because I've had sex with cut men and with uncut men, and vagina wise, do not feel a difference. But
Yeah.
I suppose I suppose it just has to do with how tight your cavities are, right? Or like how comfortable you are with the person.
Yeah, because if you're into your partner, you like receive them. I mean, it's even the same with oral sex. If I'm like about to give someone a blowjob and I'm just kind of like, and only I would be about to give a blowjob and not want to, like, but still feel like I should or something. Like, I've definitely given blowjobs and been like, oh, why am I doing this? But still done it.
Yep.
But if you're like really into it, it just like, it can happen. But if like you're not into it, it's like just really like your throat feels like it's closed up. It's like, no, like your body's like, what are you doing? No. But if you love a person and you're really into them, or they're just really sexy and you're really into it, I feel like your body just like relaxes.
I really dig my boyfriend's foreskin. He's European, so and they're mostly intact in Europe unless they're Muslim or
Right. Or Jewish.
Jewish. Yeah. But I mean that's an interesting topic in itself.
Yeah.
The differences between America and in Europe.
Yeah.
But I love giving blowjobs to my boyfriend with his foreskin. It's
Yeah.
fun.
I just feel like there's like a part of like a toy that I don't get to play with. Like,
yeah.
like I've seen guys just like loving their own foreskin and I'm like, why don't I get to do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you started your club,
Yes.
did you feel like, I mean, it's something that you can't have back, obviously. So
Right.
what was your aim with it?
With the club, I think just to, I don't know, I guess like when it was almost like a form of like trying to find like therapy, like a group to get support from, like of other people that felt that way too.
Because I'm sure, I mean, when you were a high schooler when that happened, that was a very unpopular opinion.
It might have been. I mean, I went to a boarding school and it was an art school, and I mean, there was a lot of like alternative ideology going around, but it was, and I've had so many conversations about it with people, and you know, it's funny, like I've had conversations with women about it, and you know, my whole thing with a woman is like, if you have strong opinions about a man being circumcised, like, fuck off.
Seriously, I 100% agree with that.
Because if I had some opinion about what you should do with your vagina, you'd be like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of propaganda around about it. Like, they try to say that, like, you know, it's not clean, or that you have an increased risk of STDs. And my thing is this, like, I'm saying it's an increased risk to get STDs if you have a vagina. I mean, literally, that's true. Like, women get so many infections that men really don't get. But it's not like we're trying to say, like, don't have a vagina. You know, like, they're saying we need to cut the skin off your penis so that it's, like, more hygienic. But it's like, whether it's cut or uncut, it's still, I don't want to say it's more hygienic than a vagina, but it's still, like, it's still a penis. So it's like, I just don't think it makes it that much more hygienic. And anyone, whether you have a foreskin or not, should pull it back and clean the fucker. Like,
yeah.
Like, don't just not clean your penis.
Yeah. I mean, the people who do have dirty penises are just because they don't practice good hygiene. The only good reason to have circumcision, to circumcise penises, is because of the religious reason. And that is already a bonkers reason.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
It's bonkers.
I mean, if you were going to come at me with, like, science for cutting off a part of a penis, that is bullshit.
Yeah.
But if you're saying, I must give this to God. Then or at least know that you're crazy.
Yeah, cut off a couple inches of your hair and give it to God, or maybe some toenails. Like, don't cut off the end of your penis.
Who was the person who invented circumcision? I wanna strangle this person. It's so sad.
I think it was probably the Israelites, which was like the Jewish people back in the day. But I can't say like if like Muslim people were doing it before Jews or what, but I do find it fascinating that both cultures do it and they like hate each other. It's kind of like, well, you've got some things in common.
You've got, what else do they have in common?
They both believe in one God.
They both believe in one God.
And it's basically the same God with two different names. I'm probably making a lot of people really angry by saying that, but it's the same fucking thing. They both...
Are there certain meats that Jews and Muslims don't eat?
Muslims have to eat halal. It's all been blessed, just like Jews eat blessed things too.
Yeah.
Kosher.
Oh yeah, kosher.
This is me talking about what I know about Islam.
It's
and
really
Judaism.
ignorant, probably on our part.
Someone's very mad. Sorry.
This isn't a show about religion.
No, it's not. I don't really like any religion. So, but that doesn't mean I hate them. It just means I don't want to be a religion. I'm doing quite well without religion, but I'm glad that people have it if they want it. I think you need something, but it's like, I don't need religion.
Yeah. But you mentioned that before, like your Catholicism.
Yeah.
And do you think that is why you feel your approach to how you feel about religion?
Because of my experience being raised Catholic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where there was some people just being, there was some fuckery, and I was just kind of like, am I getting anything out of this religion? And I was like, no, not really. And there's just quite a bit of fuckery. And so I was just kind of like, fuck it, I'm over it. And I remember feeling that way at a very young age. Like, I explained, I don't know if I told you this story, but like, you know, as a young Catholic, we were supposed to go to like catechism classes. I told you that. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I told you the funny story. It's a funny and kind of sad story. It's funny until you realize how old I was when it happened. Oh. I stopped going to catechism, which we called CCD. And there was a girl that went to school with me at public school. And she still went to CCD. And one day she was like, oh, this thing happened at CCD last night. And I was like, okay, go on. And she was like, well, I don't know if you want to hear it. I was like, okay, no, I really want to hear it. Like,
yeah.
What's your game here, bitch? But she's like, well, you know, we were talking about sinning and sins, and the teacher asked us each to draw a picture of one of the different sins, or just what we thought a sin was, which is like already such a fucking stupid assignment. So one of the guys in the class drew a picture of me.
Oh my God.
And I was like 12. So it was like,
oh no.
That's just the kind of fuckery I'm talking about.
What?
And I mean, I was like, I don't even fucking go there anymore. But see, like a lot of the kids from my public school,
that's so traumatizing,
went to the same church. So they, in Catholic school, could get away with that shit. But in public school, they would have been like probably sent to the principal's office, at least, I'd hope. But they wouldn't be talking about sinning in public school. But anyway.
What a jackass. I hate this little kid.
I know. Which one is he?
I want to kick him in the head.
Let's go back in time and kick that child in the head.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Well.
Do you know what happened to this asshole?
Nothing happened to him.
Wait, so what happened when he turned in that photo?
The picture. I mean, I would have hoped that the teacher would have been like, okay, that's not appropriate. But I don't think the teacher knew who I was. So it was kind of just a joke amongst him and the people in the room that knew who I was.
No.
And I don't actually have any memory of who he was. So I don't know if like she told me this guy did it or what. I don't know. I can't remember. But I do. And I also don't remember if it happened. I think it happened after I came out, which I came out really young. I came out like when I was like 14 or something. It was like the summer before 8th grade. And before that, I knew I was gay for a whole year and I didn't tell anybody. And when I came out, I was just like super confident about it. I was super happy. All the people I had told were super positive about, like my family, my close friends. And then all the people at school were like really apologetic because like they were like, oh my God, we just called you a faggot because we like didn't like you, but we didn't think you were actually gay. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gay. And they were like, we're so sorry. And I was like, well, I mean, fuck you still,
yeah,
but like,
yeah.
don't treat people bad.
Yeah, I know. Like, that's not okay. It's for
But
you
I'm
to
glad
call
you're
people faggot.
okay with gays. Like, but so I think after that, like, there really weren't a lot of bad things that happened after I came out. But one of those things I think was that event.
Sorry, that really sucks.
But other than that, like, I became like really popular, and all the popular girls like wanted to be my friend. And then their boyfriends were all like super pissed about it because like they wanted to hang out with me more than them.
I mean, I'm glad that you saw beyond that. But I mean, that's pretty traumatizing.
I was just happy I was popular. Will you hand me that can?
Yes.
I'm too lazy, and there's a dog. I should also mention, if there's any like weird noises, it's because we're recording from my bed, and there's the two of us, a chihuahua, and a pit bull.
Yeah, and the pit bull snores.
And a little snory boy.
So going back to the topic of your podcast with sex, do you feel... Let's talk about Catholicism and sex, because I think there's a lot there.
I used to have this crucifix, and I used to like lay in bed at night and just think like, damn, he looks really fine up on that cross.
Jesus on the cross is pretty hot.
He's supposed to be attractive, I think, in a lot of ways. Like, people are supposed to be like, kind of like when Leonardo dies in Titanic, they're supposed to be like, but he was so cute.
Yeah.
They're supposed to have a lot of passion for the Christ.
He's got a six-pack.
He has, and he's so sinewy, and I mean, if I saw a guy with blood dripping down his face, I'd lick it.
It has to look like Jesus.
Oh,
right?
God. This is over before it started.
Well, you know, we're like...
He's wearing a loincloth.
We're blasphemizing all the religions, like the major ones, so might as well throw in Christianity in there, too.
I mean, yeah. if I mean, you should be flattered we're even mentioning your stupid religion.
But did that... there's always that thing where Catholics feel guilt about sex and sexuality, of course.
I mean, I think that's not... I mean, it's a very Christian thing all around, but it's also... I mean, you see that a lot in Islam, too, I think, is like... issues with sexuality and shame, a lot of shame. I mean, it's just like you're doing something that you're meant to do, that you feel the urge to do, and then everyone's telling you it's fucking wrong to act on it, or it's only right to do it if it's for the sake of procreation. And it's like, if it was just to make a baby, then the joy of just creating life would be enough. You wouldn't have to also have an orgasm. Like, orgasms feel so good.
God made orgasms too in this Christian world, right?
God is an orgasm.
And of course, like being gay, did that come with some shame too, with your religious background?
Yeah, it did. And you know, the really hard time was literally that year before I came out, because I thought for a whole year, when I had accepted that I was gay, but I didn't know how I was going to tell anybody, and I thought I was sinning for a whole year. So like a whole year, I hadn't even like I was still a virgin, but I'm sure I had started masturbating. But for a whole year, I thought like I'm gonna rot in hell. Like I'm literally like an abomination for like a whole year, and we didn't even really use the word abomination in the Catholic Church, but then at some point I just decided like there's no way that I invented this, that I, this is exactly how God made me. Like there's no way that's not true, because I wouldn't have chosen to make this life way harder for myself.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I had tried, like, I do this thing, I still do it, and I think it's a sign of intellect, being like smart, but it also could be insanity. I don't know. But do you ever like dialogue with yourself, or like role play situations by yourself?
Just in general?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Okay, cool. Like I do it a lot to like if I have to go, like how's this gonna go if I go talk to this person?
All the time. All the time.
But like I talk to myself a lot. And I would like as a kid I'd role play like situations of like sexual situations, and when I was like younger, before I realized I was gay, I'd be like in bed with like my wife or my girlfriend. I'd be like, "Hey baby, like what do you like it when I touch your nipples?"
That's so funny.
And it was like, and I don't even know if I knew like the things to say, but I just like, that's how I would role play. And then at some point, it just wasn't, I realized like, what am I doing? Like this doesn't, and I think when I switched the partner to a man, it felt forbidden. And it felt, okay, this is so weird, but have you ever heard of Kachina dolls? Mexican Kachina dolls?
Can you describe?
And I'm probably offending all of Mexico because I'm probably saying it wrong, but so there are these like, okay, so there'd be like this little box, like a little wooden box painted like orange, or it was like yellow and green and red, and it was really pretty. And then you take the top off, and inside are these little tiny dolls, and there was just like a piece of metal with like yarn wrapped around it, and they made it look like little people, and the women had little skirts on, and the men had fucking pants, and whatever. There was no females in pantsuits. I mean, it was very genderized, and you were supposed to put a Kachina doll underneath your pillow, and it was supposed to like make your wishes, your dreams come true or something, or maybe take away your nightmares, or I don't know. I probably was given this by my quirky aunt, and she probably told me whatever she heard about it, and I probably received it however I wanted to receive it. I probably have no idea what a fucking Kachina doll is, but somehow I got it through my head that a boy had to put a male Kachina doll under his pillow. And I fantasized that like if I put a female Kachina doll under my pillow, that I would wake up a girl.
Huh.
And I believed it was going to happen. And I was so tempted to put a Kachina doll, a female Kachina doll, under my pillow. Kachina doll, Kachina doll, Kachina doll.
Why did you not do it?
Because in the end, I was like, how would I handle? And this was like, I was in kindergarten maybe. I said, how would I handle explaining to everyone else why I woke up a girl?
Yeah.
And it was like, I can't handle that. As like a 6-year-old.
Wow, as a 6-year-old, you knew like disappointing people.
And just like being this fucking weirdo that woke up a girl suddenly. So I was like, so that was a thing. That kind of awkward feeling, that's how I felt like when I started trying to role play with a guy. It felt right, but it felt, I was deeply embarrassed, deeply ashamed of wanting it. Just the fact of like wanting it felt shameful.
What kind of role playing?
Just the same thing that I would do with like a wife or a girlfriend figure, like being like, hey, like, I don't know, What's your wiener up to?
You're so bad at role playing.
Well, no, but I've gotten better.
Okay.
And the other thing now is that, like, when I role play now, it's like sometimes I'm kind of like the girl figure. Like, you know, now that I'm more gender fluid and kind of non-conforming, you know, sometimes I'm like getting fucked and I'm like, oh yeah. Literally all by myself in my room. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, you want to fuck? And like, I get really into it, but it doesn't last very long because at some point, you know, you realize, oh, I'm all alone in my room.
Oh.
But
when you are with a person.
But nowadays it's like, you know, you get in bed and you just have that little feeling of like, oh, I feel lonely, and so you like cuddle up to your pillow and maybe you like give it a name and maybe the name changes or maybe it's been the same name for a while. And you know, you kiss it and you're like, you say sweet little things, just like you'd say sweet little things to your partner before going to bed.
Yeah. What if you were with a person? What do you think you would want the most out of them when you are in bed together?
A real person?
Yeah. A non-pillow.
I don't think I can move away from the pillow. I like the pillow so much. I actually bought this body pillow for that purpose, and I don't even use it as such. I use it to prop up my other pillows.
It looks pretty.
And apparently to shelter pit bulls.
Yeah.
Wait, what would I do to the person?
Yeah. Well, what do you miss most about having a relationship?
What do I miss most? Well, to be honest, I've never had like a long-term relationship, and the longest relationship I've had probably was like only like a month. So, but I mean, in that one or couple relationships, as far as like sex or like being in the bedroom.
Yeah, let's talk about sex.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
What is the sex that you would? What is the move that you like the most? What's your favorite sex move?
Oh my god, I like the triple sow cow, backwards, upside down cowgirl.
10, 10, 10.
10, 10, 3, 2, 1. But wasn't there like something on
Friends?
What?
Was it Friends? Like when Monica's doing like the diagram for Chandler. Do you remember that episode?
It is not that reference because I never watched Friends.
Oh, that's so weird that you've never watched
I'm like
Friends.
the one American that never watched Friends.
What are you talking about?
There was like some like calling internationally thing. Like you could get like a phone card. Remember phone cards?
Sprint, right?
And it was like 10, 10, 3, 2, 1 or something.
Yeah. Wasn't Candace Bergen one of the spokespeople for it?
Candace Bergen did represent Sprint.
She's really, really attractive.
She's so hot.
Yeah.
I love a Bergen.
Yes.
So I will say this. I really like non-penetrative things. Like I like massage.
Oh yeah.
I love being tickled. It's
really
insane to me. And I always share that with my partners because like it's like tickling is ticklishness comes from like you not wanting to become aroused in awkward situations. Like if somebody touches your armpit at your grandma's funeral, you don't want to get like an erection because you're at your grandma's funeral.
Wait, is this a real thing?
Yes. I know it didn't happen to me. I don't remember my grandma's funeral. But so like our reaction to things that are near our erogenous zones is to go like, oh no, like don't, ooh, like, oh, it tickles. But in a sensual situation, your erogenous zones should be a part of the experience. And so touching my armpit during sex, I find like unbelievably arousing.
Really?
And it's also a thing of like, I trust this person. I know they're not going to try to tickle me. They're going to try to make me feel good. They're not going to try to hurt me. They're going to try to make me feel good. And so that, I love that. Something about trust is super hot for me.
Wow.
Sometimes I fantasize, like if I'm in bed with someone, I'm really not into them. And I haven't had sex in forever, but I'll be like, he's my boyfriend, he's my boyfriend, he's my boyfriend. And there's that like idea of like fantasizing that this person is in a committed relationship with me, like gets me off.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
That's nice. I will try that armpit move. I'm going to either surprise my boyfriend with it or request it.
Very light touch I really like. I'm a sensitive person, so really aggressive, hard touch, it's like I almost like leave my body.
Yeah.
Tosi, are you trying to mess up the microphone?
The Chihuahua is trying to lie on top of the recording device.
She's like, I heard you talking about Kachina dolls. You do not understand Mexico. I'm a Chihuahua.
She wants to weigh in.
She's the least Mexican Chihuahua ever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so light touch for me is like almost like the only kind of touch that like registers on the, charts. Like hardcore touch, it feels bad, and I go to a place of like I leave my body. I don't know if I've had some kind of trauma. It sounds like I have. Oh my god. But I have had really traumatic sexual experiences that were like, yes, they were consensual, but like at some point I didn't want it to happen anymore, and I just like stayed.
You went on with it because you didn't want to disappoint the person?
Yeah, or like I was embarrassed, or yeah, exactly. So, and I think that's very common.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
And I've spoken about that on other episodes too,
Yeah.
but
women go through a lot of that.
oh yeah, especially in relationships, because you feel this like expectation to please your partner, or like you like don't want them to not like you, so you have to make them happy. If you don't make them sexually happy, they'll leave you.
It's just so fucked up.
Right.
I wish people could just have sex when they want to have sex.
Yeah. I also I get nervous when like guys want to be in a relationship with me, and then they're like, oh yeah, and then we could like fuck 3 times a day, and you're like, that sounds terrible. Right. Especially when you're gonna be the top. I want my asshole to be pretty when I'm 45. I don't want to be prolapsing by next year.
But when you're with a person in the beginning and all you can do is have sex.
Yeah.
That is very, very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you found somebody you're like compatible with.
Yeah.
That can be great.
Yeah.
Who sounds more California right now?
You.
Do you vocal fry?
Maybe subconsciously. Maybe.
Yeah.
I very much tried to suppress my Californian accent, but I think I don't know how successful that is.
It's a hard one to suppress. I started talking like I was from California.
How did you get that?
To get rid of Michigan. And it's because
I want to hear your Michigan accent.
I mean, it's still there a little bit. But like
I don't hear it much.
Everybody I was friends with in high school was like from California for some reason.
Do I sound Californian?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. I did it. Oh no. I see. I don't even think about it.
I mean, it's difficult.
But it's hard living in the South sounding like how I sound, because I think people, automatically, because I'm Chinese, they go, "Whoa, you're different."
Yeah.
But as soon as I start talking, they're like, "You're definitely not from here."
Yeah.
It's okay.
I feel like this is a weird thing to admit, but like being from a city, I'm not going to pretend like I know more about diversity because I've been living in New York, but I liked that. One of my favorite things about living in New York was diversity.
Yes.
And when I moved here, I guess I knew that it would be a lot more white. I don't know if I understood to what extent it would be white, but when I see a person of color, I almost want to just like hug them, even though I don't know who they are.
Is that why we're friends?
No.
Oh.
Well, we're friends because you started coming to my classes, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, it's because I developed a crush on you.
Yeah, it's because you're in love with me.
I am. It's like, I feel like I saw you at the gym. And
You saw me at the gym?
I did. And I was like, whoa, he's like a different young person around here. Is like, we live in a retirement community,
Yeah.
so everyone here is old AF. But then I saw a young person, and you were talking to Helen and talking to Diane, and I love Helen and Diane. And then I was like, I want to be his friend. And then I started doing yoga, and then you taught yoga, and then I saw you at the supermarket, and then I decided.
Oh my God.
And then I decided
remember.
I have to ask him out.
You have to go on a date with him.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I think probably a lot of what drew me to you friendship-wise was that you lived in New York too.
But I also saw you at the Bernie Sanders event.
Oh my God.
And then that's when I thought, okay, we are probably at least very politically aligned. And that's another plus around here living in the South. So, yeah.
I felt so comfortable at that party at your house the other night with all the livers. And I felt so guilty that I was like so happy to be at a party with a bunch of livers. But it's so funny to feel guilty about being around people. Because, you know, when you live in New York, you don't ever have to be around somebody that doesn't agree with you. Because, like, there's no time to mess around with that shit. Like, you're just busy all the time. You create a community of people that all agree with you. And because it's so much more easy.
Mm-hmm.
So much more easy.
It's so much easier.
And now when I live here, it's so much easier to find opposition, and I'm like grateful for that, but it's like
it's exhausting.
It can be kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a Bernie Sanders shirt and I don't even know where to wear it.
Because they might shoot you. Really.
Oh.
They might, like, very openly hostile.
Yes, but at least I'm not Muslim.
Oh,
they would shoot me more then.
Yeah.
Or a person of color.
Yeah.
Or, oh my God.
You're so, you are Southern passing. Maybe.
What's that thing when it's like you're a gay straight guy or a straight gay guy?
Is there a term for that?
Yeah, I think it's like when you are straight but you act gay. Oh, that was weird.
There's one for Asians, that Asians who act white, we are...
Margaret Cho?
No, she's super Asian. But, like, we're called bananas because we're yellow on the outside, but we're white on the inside.
Oh.
And I get accused of that a lot.
It's so funny. Did people not have as many options for colors a long time ago? Because, like, you know when they call black people black, and they're not black. They're brown.
Right.
And Asian people aren't yellow.
Yeah, I don't know where they came from.
You're just like a little bit, you're like a mix of white and brown.
But
and some Asian people are like straight up white.
Yeah, and white people aren't white. You guys are...
We're like pink.
Peachy.
We're like super pink or like ruddy. Or like...
Unless you're albino, then you're...
Tumorous.
Then you're really white.
I'm like opalescent over here.
You've got like a nice like peachy...
I'm the same
pinky color.
I'm the same pigmentation as like a jellyfish. You can like see everything inside of me.
You're also redheaded, so...
I'm redheaded. But that's another thing. It's like my hair is not really red. It's like kind of orange. When I was little, my favorite color was orange. And everything I ate was orange. I ate a lot of cheese. And I was like...
Yeah.
I still eat a lot of cheese. I was like, my hair's not red. It's orange. Like, I used to get so upset. But it's really weird. It's weird that, like... Or, like, redskins. Like... They're not red.
It's all...
Native Americans aren't red.
So derogatory.
Oh my God, it's the worst.
Yeah, I don't like it. It makes me feel very bad.
I don't like that what's it, a football team?
The Redskins?
I don't like that. And their mascot is like,
It's a human being as a character.
it's literally the same as like those pictures they would draw of black people.
That's true.
It's literally the same thing. The mascot is like smiling, like a smiley cartoon Native American man.
It's really offensive. And I've never made that connection. And of course you cannot do that anymore with black art or black imagery. So,
Right. Native Americans, I mean, oh my God. It's like one of my, I feel like I should go back to Europe. I feel like white people.
Go back to where you came from.
I do. And you know what? Sometimes I think about all of the really terrible things that happened on this continent, and I think like I need to go back because like my spirit, my ancestors are not here.
Do you feel like you need to make that's reparations is not the correct term for it because that's a different thing, but do you feel guilty on behalf so many things you feel guilty for?
I don't.
But as a white man, do you feel guilty?
I feel shame. I don't really feel guilty. I don't take responsibility for what white people did. But that's only because I think that we have, like, the body that I'm in right now, genetically, the genetic ancestors were white.
Mm-hmm.
But who I am decided to come into this body in this life. And I don't believe that spiritually I'm white.
Oh.
Like, I don't believe that. I believe in my last life I was probably someone else. And my ass, I've been told by several people that I have a ton, like a overabundance of saved up good karma from past lives.
Huh.
So I probably did some fucking great shit in other lives.
Cool.
Which means I probably wasn't white. I was fucking Harriet Tubman.
Ooh. And now you
I might not have been American also.
came back in this life as a white gay man. Do you think in your next life you'll come back as like...
I think in some ways my past lives I had suffered a lot of hardship, and I think in this life I was like, let's do hardship light. Let's do like a little less hardship. Because I haven't known a lot of hardship in this life. Like I haven't had 100% easy, but I'm very blessed.
Do you ever kind of not identify, but do you sympathize with the way that white men feel about life? So, for instance, like a lot of the reason why like Donald Trump is really a thing ever is because he taps into this white male anxiety.
Toxic masculinity.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly the term.
So the question is, do
you sympathize with it, or do you at least understand where that comes from?
No, I don't understand where it comes from. I understand that they feel entitled. I don't like, there's like, I was having a conversation with my best friend about how, I feel sometimes like straight white men, they treat you differently if they don't have a use for you. So like if they don't find you attractive, if they don't want to fuck you, they just don't care. Like I've had people.
And you've been on the receiving end of that? Or?
Yeah, like I've had nothing to offer so many straight men because I can't talk football and I can't shoot the shit the way they want, and they don't want to fuck me, and they look right through me, and that's like more painful than someone saying something mean to me. I think is someone who just doesn't see me.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. And it's like on a day when you don't want anyone to notice you, like when I have a pimple on the middle of my fucking head, that'd be great. But It's like when you want acceptance.
Yeah, and all we want is to be
Right.
accepted.
Oh my god. I just woke her up.
You woke up my dog. It's so funny.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
She's fine.
Oh, what if she had started barking? What's this carbonation? And I'm lying on my belly. But I think that these day drinking drinks are good. Oh, it's by Little Big Town. Where did you get this?
I got it at Publix.
Oh my god, it's brilliant.
Are you into it?
I love it, and mostly because I feel like I'm finally buzzed.
Finally. Wow. I'm pretty buzzed.
I don't think the margaritas buzzed me at all.
Well, we had
But that's what happened the last time I made margaritas from that tequila.
I was
like an
into
amber.
it. It was delicious, and I definitely felt a buzz from it. And now I feel like a refill of something because I'm all out of alcohol.
We can totally stop and then start again.
A good place for a break.
Yeah. I also really need to fart, and I've been wanting to not just not fart on recording, but I've been not wanting to fart in front of you.
That's very nice.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so
Oh, Drew and I were talking about living in New York City. So I lived in a 4-story walk-up in the Upper East Side. I lived on the 3rd floor, and at the time I was in a very long-distance relationship, and my boyfriend came to see me. Of course, we had very, very vigorous, loving sex. And my neighbor from downstairs, her name was Olga. She could hear the tiniest of movements even before he came here. Like when I tried to just get water from my refrigerator, she would complain. And after I had sex with my boyfriend, I could hear her walk up the stairs, and she knocked on my door. I opened the door. I said, "Hi, Olga. What are you doing?" And she hands me pieces of her ceiling, and she asks me if I've been hammering things. And I said, "Yep, we've been."
Which would mean that you were like hammering things like into the floor.
Yeah.
Because it would have been the only way to knock things off her ceiling.
Yeah, very, very vigorously. Very rhythmically.
So she was just hear like floor noise like through the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like she wasn't like hearing you like talking on the phone or like if you were like being really vocal during sex. Mm-mm. She was hearing just like.
She could hear like vacuuming, but.
Yes.
Yeah, but not like sex noises.
Maybe if you were lying on the floor, like moaning into the cracks of the floor, she might hear that.
Maybe, but that would only just be to antagonize her, which was kind of fun. To antagonize her because I just wanted to drink water sometimes and not have to think about disturbing my neighbor. But it's also
get to my fucking Brita filter. What's wrong with you, bitch?
Yeah, but that's just New York. Things are old. Ceilings are very thin apparently and falling apart.
Close quarters.
Yeah.
So, how old was Olga?
In her 80s.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So nobody was hammering her furniture. I mean, we can only assume.
No, I think she's living on her own, but yeah, I think she had a rent-controlled place, and yeah.
I can only hope that she did. Poor Olga. I mean, it's so sad that she got so old and her hearing was still there.
Unfortunately for me. Yeah, I think after that I had to have kind of repressed sex, thinking that I destroyed her ceiling.
Oh man.
Yeah, which sucks because
she probably had a lot of like repressed sex in the former USSR.
She's like, I did it. Why couldn't you?
She's like, I just had sex done to me and I just did a crossword puzzle. I don't know.
That's how old people have sex.
Well, you were telling me that you enjoy, and I actually didn't comment about this, but you enjoy like vocalizing during sex,
Yeah.
and I like that. And I just wanted to share too that part of what I've discovered is that like it feels like um, it does. It feels animal, and it feels like something is vibrating like from some lower frequency when you like vocalize what you're feeling.
Yeah, yeah. I've been doing bear noises for some reason, especially when I'm on top of my boyfriend. Like the straddling move, I go like rawr, like a bear. And this is not very intimidating right now. It's like sitting on Drew's bed, but
But what I wonder is it intimidating when it really happens in the moment?
you're gonna have to ask the boyfriend.
So, but what is his reaction? Is it like, is he also going like, "Wah"?
No,
Like,
I think I've asked him to. I've asked him before if he's found it like off-putting, and I think he's just enjoying the sex, and then, but also finding it a little weird. So we've been together for a long time, and
well, that's good.
yeah, and I don't know if this is just a been together for a long time, spice it up kind of thing,
Yeah.
but. No, I don't think it is. But sometimes you feel like a bear.
Do you have like some kind of like bear connection? Like, do you feel like it might be like one of your spirit animals?
No.
Oh.
Do you have a spirit animal?
It's an elephant.
Have you done
For sure.
elephant noises during sex?
What was it? No, not during sex. But I just feel like a kinship to them. They're very wide and they have big ankles.
I love elephants. They're so gentle.
They have big ankles like me.
They're gentle giants.
Did you know that elephants suck on their own trunks to comfort themselves?
No.
It's something that baby elephants do, and adult elephants sometimes keep doing it.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it's fucking adorable. I fucking love it.
I want to do that to an elephant. I want to suck on an elephant's trunk, a baby elephant's trunk.
That's definitely something that's never been done. And you were telling me too that you do like to have dirty talk.
Yes, I do. I like it a lot. And I think it's become more organic as I've explored more with this person. But I think once you're really comfortable with somebody, you can adopt a lot of personas.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the times it's like, I'm your secretary. So it plays into gender roles, doesn't it?
I'm Priscilla Toyota.
Yeah.
The heiress of Toyota.
Yeah. Or like the teacher student kind of sex roles, or yeah. Or have I ever been like the boss lady? Don't even remember that. I probably have.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
What about like, do you ever like do any kind of like submissive play, like tying each other up, or like?
It's always been like we've entertained it, but we've just never got around to it. It's just like kind of an ordeal. I think we've done things like with blindfolds and where you have like a tie around someone's eyes, but
Which is more like sensory play.
yeah, but
I love that.
never so much that it involved ropes being tied around or any sort of fetish play.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I really like vanilla sex.
That's okay.
Yeah. And it's like what I was saying earlier about like how there's like a whole spectrum out there, and I don't I feel just really really happy having a monogamous relationship and just being with my person.
Yeah.
And as I was saying before, it's also like a really privileged position to be cisgender, to be a woman, that what the conventionality that I have with my person, I really, really like it. And it's happy for me, but I do see all sorts of fun out there. And I'm like, I want to be a part of it, but I just don't feel attracted to people across the spectrum as much.
That's okay. Do you think that, like, wanting to be in a monogamous relationship, do you think that's more common for, like, when you're a woman? Like, do you think most women kind of want that? Do you think men do or don't? Like, I mean, I know we were told.
Yeah, it's a good question.
What's your experience been in relationships?
Um, I think I really hate that my relationship has turned out to be a lot like the conventional type. That we're both, you could just write it in a book. It's just so normal.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's something that is just like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because that's something that we've been told as young people to strive for.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I I wonder if I were a different sex, if I had like a different sexuality, if things would turn out differently. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's some part of you that's still like a rebellious 16-year-old.
Yeah. I yeah, as I said before, I really, really enjoy being in my relationship.
Uh-huh.
And I don't really want to be single again.
Do you feel like your parents? Is
No.
there some fear of like, oh God, I'm my parents?
No. No, I don't.
Also, you're dating outside your race, which is like, do you do that a lot, or is this like,
Oh, that's another thing. I have really only dated white guys.
okay?
Yeah. And
How does that work? Like, do you feel like a lot of times, like how do you navigate? Because obviously you feel fetishized at times. Like, how do you navigate? Does this person actually care about me? Am I like a part of their like kinky fantasy?
yeah, it depends. So I've been with 5 men, and I think that they've all respected who I am. They don't see me as a Chinese person. They respect me who I am. But the guys I've hooked up with, those are who I feel like I've been fetishized with.
Okay.
And that's okay, right? I mean, the occasional hookup, and maybe you can indulge in that a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when the foreplay or the is that what I want to say, foreplay? No, not foreplay. The role playing is like, okay, let's pretend that
Yeah.
you're a geisha. Okay, I am a sailor. Does that ever happen and you're like, let's not.
It's never happened, but I wouldn't be surprised when I'm with a guy who I've hooked up with that that's what they're thinking in their head. I hope I don't. I hope that they haven't thought that, and of course that would be very demeaning.
Yeah.
But you know, like when you're young and you're horny and you just want to have sex.
You deserve to be young and horny and have sex with whomever
Yeah. Yeah.
wants to have sex with you.
Yeah. And like, I don't know how to even say it. It's like being a Chinese person and being a Chinese woman. I mean, I have when you're horny and you just like want to have sex, you're just gonna use it for your advantage to find guys. And now I find it very demeaning, even just saying it out loud. But at the time, when you were young and you just want to make out with someone or hook up with them.
Well, it's not like you weren't getting something out of it.
Yeah. And also I suppose weird thing because, like, if I was a dude, like, no guy would ever psychoanalyze it like
They
that.
would never ever think twice about it.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about my naked photo shoot.
But that was really good. Oh, that was a good one.
I'm sure that'll come out in
No.
different...
Let's go into your naked photo shoot. Because the context of that was because I was long distancing with my boyfriend, and we sent each other dirty text messages, and one of them included, "I want you to slap my vagina." And then my boyfriend's uncle ended up inheriting that phone and read all the dirty text messages, including slapping vaginas. That's when you started talking about...
My question is, did this uncle, like, was he like, what is this? Who is sending this?
No.
Like, how did he read them all?
No, he was just like, I saw this text message from your girlfriend.
I'm thinking there's more to it. He's like, I read all of that.
Because they were probably really hot. I'm sure they were really hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like guys are like that. Like, they'd share disgusting details like that, like with their uncle. No?
But he inherited the phone. It's because my boyfriend's uncle needed a new phone.
Yeah.
And he got that one. And unfortunately, all those text messages were still there. They were not deleted.
How old is this uncle?
Let's say he's 60.
Was he 60 when he inherited the phone?
Yeah.
Okay. Now he's like 68.
Let's say, yeah.
Okay.
And not 68, but like, let's say he was 55 when...
We have to know.
Just older.
I wish I brought that champagne up here.
And then now discuss your naked photos.
Oh, no, I don't want to share anything. I also want to know, what else did you write in the text?
I don't really remember.
Slapping your vagina is not... It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
Have you ever had your vagina actually slapped?
Yes.
Like, how hard?
Like a nice tap. Can I show on your hand? Like...
Oh, that's wonderful.
Isn't it?
What a delight.
It's delightful.
Somebody said, I don't remember where this happened. It could have been anywhere. I feel like it happened in the 90s. Somebody was like, I'm going to chew that clit like bubble gum.
Oh, no, I don't like that.
That sounds terrible.
I don't like that.
That's so bad.
That?
I don't know, but I'm not talking to them anymore. I don't know. Also, nope, forgot that too. So, so when I lived in Seattle, I had a photo shoot. I went to I went to a photo shoot with a friend who was just trying to get some free headshots from this like guy. You know, like there's this big thing where in like this is like a Stefan moment. Where in like there's like some older, wealthier gay guy with a camera who's like a hobbyist photographer, and maybe he's bored with his like law practice, I don't know, but he's decided that in his spare time he's gonna rent a studio space and like have young, attractive gay boys come and maybe get free headshots because he's learning how to take pictures still.
I know.
Or eventually maybe like be naked. And my friend was very smart and was like, no, I don't want to take my clothes off. I just want headshots. And I was tagging along with him and was like, oh, I'll get naked.
Oh, no.
And it was fine. I mean, like, the guy was really sweet. And, I came back the next day or whatever, and I was wearing mascara. I don't know why. And I got naked, and it was like, he said something like, this is for... like the Seattle, like erotic arts festival or something. Like I'm considering I'm gonna use different models, but I want to do like a thing. And like now, I like thinking back on it, I could have been literally murdered. Like he tied me up with a rope, and he tied me to like pipes from the ceiling.
What?
Yeah, and then he also like tied the rope around my like balls and my erect penis. Like, he had me get erect. He also asked me, like, if I needed help getting erect. Um, it all happened. And I, for some reason, was just like, this is great. Let's do this. But, like, at any point, he could have raped me or he could have murdered me. And, like, he didn't. But it was like, yeah, I was like 19 and this was what I was doing.
Oh my god.
So then, God, I feel like I'm never telling my shrink all this shit. Like, this is the shit I should be telling my therapist. So anyway, he he took the pictures or whatever, and he gave me they don't call them negatives now. He just gave me a DVD with like
The shoot, like
the whole shoot.
the evidence.
Yeah, the evidence. And like I said, I didn't sign an NDA, National Basketball Association. I didn't sign that. I don't know, but I ended up importing these pictures, this photo shoot onto my laptop, and in later years, I gave this laptop to my mother, and I was pretty certain, to the best of my millennial abilities, that I had wiped this clean, this laptop. But I had not wiped this folder clean from the laptop. And so my mother actually didn't see it. She's ancient, and she didn't know how to find it. But my niece did. And cause my mother gifted the laptop to my niece, my eldest niece, and she found it. And she just was kind of like, so I found some pictures, and the minute I saw what they were, I just closed it. Like, she like didn't see, any where I was erect, or like, I don't think she saw anywhere I was tied up to any pipes, or what's that, like Kim Kardashian, where she's like shooting champagne over her shoulder onto her own ass.
Yeah, the paper magazine.
Yeah, she didn't see that. No, I didn't do that. I was the original Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, apparently, but
I just didn't get famous. But anyway, so have you ever seen that meme or whatever where it's like Kim Kardashian's booty covered in champagne juxtaposed with like some Krispy Kreme donuts? It's very much the same texture. Anyway, so she didn't see anything bad, but it was really embarrassing, and which actually leads me to want to talk about something that we didn't discuss before.
Wait, I need to process the whole photo shoot first before you do that. What were you thinking at the time when you were doing the photo shoot?
I don't actually know.
Were you enjoying yourself? Or were you scared? Or
no, I actually was very into it, and I actually can't tell you if that was before or after I lost my virginity, but I know I lost my virginity around that same time. And the whole time before...
Wait, with the photographer? Or
No.
Okay.
He was not. I wasn't feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
He offered to fluff me, and I said no. But I was like... I remember working up to, like, losing my virginity. It was like... it's like I really, really felt, like, bad that I hadn't lost it. Like, I knew a lot of people that had, and I was in college. Like, I was 19, and I still was a virgin. And I didn't really even care if it was a good experience or not. I just wanted to lose it. And I think that was kind of the mentality, like, I need to get rid of this baggage. I wanted so badly to be an adult, I think.
And you took that as, I guess, sort of freedom going into your photo shoot? Or that expression, that feeling of you are now a sexual being. I'm going to let that fly.
I always felt like I had some understanding of sex and sexuality. Like, I had a feeling I was going to be good at sex when I had it. I had a feeling that, like, because I was a dancer, I knew my body and I knew what it was capable of. And I did have a certain appreciation, although I had issues. Like I had body dysmorphia and some issues with my body, but for some reason I just knew how to like express sexual energy with my body.
Okay. Okay. So the experience with the photographer then was not a traumatic
No,
one.
I made it sound really traumatic. Oh my
It's
god.
you did a little. I was a little
I
worried.
think I was just like, let's get some shock
Jobs.
factor. But
But
it was, because honestly, now thinking back to it, like, did you ever do that? Like later in later years, you're like, what the fuck was I
all
thinking?
the time.
Because I could literally have been murdered,
All the time.
or at very least, I could have been raped.
Yeah.
I was tied up,
Yeah.
and I'm hearing all these stories about. Because now I'm obsessed with like serial killers. There's so many stories of young girls, like a guy picks them up at the cafe. He's like, I just want to take some pictures of you, and then they get raped or murdered, and like that was exactly the thing. Like there's a lot of photographers, like the kind of guy I shot with, who are obsessed with young beauty.
Yeah.
I mean, our culture is obsessed with young beauty, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm not sure why. I think it's like uh, we feel like we missed out when we were young and
But you're
whatever.
also like supple and innocent, and
Yeah.
you're the most beautiful state when you're at that age. So,
Oh yeah.
like nothing is sagging, nothing is.
We're not sagging yet.
Not sagging yet, but we're saggier than we were when we were 19. So.
I don't know. I'm like Benjamin Buttoning over here.
Yes, sure. But so I suppose like I would never, if I were to have a daughter, I wouldn't want her to go through any of the things that I went through, even though at the time I had a ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, I could have been murdered. I could have been raped.
What's the time like that you felt like now you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I did that?
Oh, so many times. Like partying in LA. We used to go out at Ledoux. It was like where Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan used to go out.
Oh my god.
And there's just a lot of coke and driving drunk and hooking up with guys you've met for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And wearing like, these t-shirts that you bought at Forever 21 as dresses.
Yes.
Yeah. Drinking more than you should, getting guys to buy champagne for you, and if like I had a kid, I would be like, hell no, you're not doing that. You could have died. You could have
Yeah.
at any of those moments, as you said, you could have been raped or killed or.
What's so funny is I listen to a lot of these kinds of things, and like it's so easy when you hear this girl was out partying or doing this or doing that, like, you know, people always say like, well, she really put herself in that situation, or you know, it's no wonder she was raped, like she was like doing this, and it's like we all did it.
Yeah, totally.
Everyone does it.
Yeah.
And nobody deserves that.
Nobody does.
No.
We're just living our best lives.
It's literally like, if it didn't happen to you, you must have had some fucking angel watching out for you or something.
Yeah. We're all just 21 being stupid. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, we also had, like, did you always feel like you had, like, good friends that, like, were watching out for you too? Or,
Yeah.
yeah, like, that helps.
Yeah. Also, there are terrible influences, but
Right.
at least you had somebody with you to convince the taxi driver that it was okay that 3 girls vomited all over your back seat and we had no money to pay for it to get cleaned or enough money to go home. We could have been your daughters.
One time, my best friend thought it would be funny. There was, like, this older, I don't know what country he hailed from, but he was our taxi driver, and this was in Boston, and he was like, he decided it'd be so funny. We were coming home from the club to be like, oh, like, we're not gonna pay you. Like,
Oh no.
Drew's gonna suck your dick.
What?
And I was like, I'm not gonna suck his dick. And the guy was kind of like, oh, like, come sit in the front seat. And I was just like, what?
Oh no.
I was like, you just fucking pimp me out
What
to this
an
fucker.
awkward situation.
But I mean, I was wasted.
And
I didn't suck his dick.
so interesting that I had to ask that. It's like, could you have done it?
But oh my god. Yeah, exactly. My friend would have probably saved me in a lot of situations, and I definitely saved him in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got us into some situations.
I've been in an equivalent where, no, I mean, I didn't suck a guy's dick, but
good.
where I was like, oh, I needed some money to get home from the club, and all I had to do was make out with this guy, and he gave me $20. It was so fucked up, and it's like, that's all it was. He was just this like 50-year-old Iranian guy who I never met before, but he had my number. And he texted me like the next day, and he picked me up in a limo to go somewhere.
Oh,
but
shit.
I didn't end up going to it. But wait, have you dated outside your race?
Oh, yes, I have, and I almost like prefer to.
Really?
There was like a long time where every time I would like suck a white dick, I would get like really sick afterwards. And so I had this like, because I hate myself. No, because I had this like theory that like these white guys were so like entitled that they didn't clean themselves well enough, or they would fucking like be sick and then like still try to hook up with you even though they were like sick.
Ew.
I've actually had a guy, the first guy I ever did anything with, I met him in the infirmary at my summer camp. Like, he was sick. And he still made out with me. It's like, don't make out with people.
Gross.
You're
gross,
sick.
gross.
Also, I'm so stupid. I forgot you were sick.
Ew. Could you taste it?
And then I thought I had AIDS in my mouth because I thought that was a thing. Because I was stupid. I was like, oh God. And I prayed. I said, God, please don't let me have AIDS. I will never suck a dick again. And I literally sucked that same guy's dick the next day. And God was like, it's okay, you stupid child. You know not what you suck.
Wait, and he was the guy who ruined white guys for you?
Well, he was kind of like Greek, but he was like pretty white. This guy was Greek. But anyway, I've slept with every single kind of guy. The only thing I haven't slept with, the only kind of guy I haven't slept with is like an Indian guy, which is really crazy because I think they're so hot.
Yeah.
But I slept with a guy who was half Indian and half Italian.
That counts.
So yeah, but I mean, not a purebred, if you will, if we're talking about men like they're dogs.
It's hard to find purebreds now.
We're all mixing it up.
Mixed, especially in New York.
Especially inside my body. I've got a mix of all sorts of different guys in there. The one time I had sex with this guy who was an NYPD, and he was like Haitian or something, and he was so strong and yummy, and he was like really dark, and I remember, the thing I remember most about having sex with him was that he would fall asleep and I would just keep playing with his genitals while he was sleeping.
Genitals are fun.
And then he would wake up and be like, hey, and I'd be like, hi. And he'd be like, and then he'd fall back asleep.
Oh.
And I'd just be like, your balls are so wonderful.
Balls are fun. They're fun. I like the way that they're stretchy and they like move really down a little.
Yeah.
And I mean, women don't have them, so I find genitals, like male genitals, just very fascinating. I think that like a flaccid penis is the most interesting, fun thing to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. I love to molest my partner while he's sleeping.
Wait.
Like, he's like, I know he's cool with it, but you're gonna fall asleep and I'm gonna continue to do things to you. Like, I'm that, like, stalkery, dorky partner who's, like, staring at you while you're sleeping and going, like, why don't you wake up? Why don't you wake up?
Yeah.
I'm insane.
And then you make them coffee and breakfast.
And then they're like, what's your name?
Oh.
You're like,
Whatever.
yeah, whatever. See you later. Yeah. There's this thing. Have you ever heard of boyfriend for a day or like boyfriend for the night, where you're like it's like everyone in New York wants to like you get off on being like, he's my boyfriend, or like you act like you're in a relationship but only for the night, and the next day you're like, see you later, dude.
Is this an app?
No, it's just like nobody wants to be in a committed relationship when you're like in your 20s in New York, but you want to feel like you have a boyfriend while you're in bed with them.
That sounds so sick, but I see it. I get it.
I mean, I've been victim to it, but I've also been, the perpetrator in that such.
Really? It sounds so exhausting.
Well,
I don't get single people in that sense, or like people who just like the motions of dating.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's like you're in bed, and you want to do all the cute things like kiss each other and like sniff each other and say sweet things and flirt and be supportive, but then the next day you wake up and you're like, that we were just having fun last night. It's over.
Do you? Okay. I don't know how to ask this question, but so you say that your longest relationship has been a month.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like in Giannina's where it's like self-sabotage? Like, you don't feel like you want to be in a long-term relationship, or do you think it was just the other person? Or it's different depending on the person.
I have a hard time saying I self-sabotage because I've had a lot of people in my life, like my mother or like other friends of mine, like close friends who assume that I'm self-sabotaging a lot. Mm-hmm. And I'm like just being me and trying to be true to myself, and if I'm self-sabotaging, like I need to be the one to realize it, So like I have the voice of my mother being like if I don't like someone, my mom's reaction is like, ugh, well, you're just so hard on people, like, you're never, if the right person is in front of you, you're just not gonna see it because you're just, you never give anyone a chance. And it's like, no, I just don't like him. Like, I'm allowed to not like someone, Mm-hmm. And that was really hard. And I think, to be honest, that's like a lot of those times when I felt like I had to sleep with someone, or I felt like I had to do something with someone, that was all like shit that my mom projected on me.
Oh no.
I mean, my mom was like married to my dad for 30 years, and she didn't want to have any kids. That wasn't her goal. She had 4 boys, and she didn't want to marry my dad, and she didn't want to stay married to him. And she did a lot of shit she didn't want, and I think that kind of gets projected onto me. Like, I start to be in relationships with guys that I don't want to be with, and it's not feeling right, but I'm afraid to say like I'm not into him because I don't want to be like because my mom told me you're not giving people enough chances, but it's like I know in my heart I don't like this guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So self-sabotaging, yeah, but
it's because you just don't want to be with this person too.
Well, first of all, everything we hear on Love is Blind is literally like super fucking cliche.
Yeah, but I love it because
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
But like the whole self-sabotage thing is like, yeah, but then look at them, like when Giannini and Damien, what's his name?
Damien.
they have their first argument on the boat when like he doesn't want to open up about like how he's afraid he's gonna lose his job being on the show, and like she's like, you're not talking to me. Like she's like the first one to say earlier, oh, I'm a self-sabotager, but then when it comes down to real shit, she's the one that's the best at opening up and being real about shit. Like I don't think she's a self-sabotager at all.
Right.
I think she
lives her heart on her sleeve.
protective of herself at first, but then she's all in and she's like, this is the real shit, we're talking now. Like, I love you and now we're fucking talking. Also, I haven't seen that much more, as much as you've seen.
I've seen a lot.
So maybe she acts like a fucking crazy person later. Don't ruin it.
I won't ruin it, but a lot of the anxieties that anybody feels in a relationship, she kind of taps into.
I really just, right then, I thought you were going to go, it's like, oh my god, it's gonna growl at me.
Isn't that weird? Now that you know that I do that, that's probably all you're thinking of when I go to yoga, whenever I see you, whenever I'm just like getting a smoothie, you're going like, she makes bear noises during sex.
I want to call you and be like, are you getting a smoothie? Did you growl at them? No. So I've done these kinds of like classes in New York where like I've taught like nude yoga for bears and shit like that, but the same group will do like erotic massage workshops where like everyone partners up, everyone's naked and you like massage and whatever, and it turns into like basically like a mutual masturbation, like the whole room is jerking off together. And you're not supposed to like do oral sex or anal sex or anything like that, but everything else is like cool beans.
Okay.
And like there's all these men that like have been practicing like tantra and stuff, and they're like they're working at just like increasing sexual vibration, and some men will like not ejaculate, they'll just like continue to like hold on to that and like cycle that energy or whatever, which I'm like,
sounds irritating.
I'm gonna keep ejaculating until
I can. Like, oh, get over it.
But a lot of these guys, to work up that vibration, they use a lot of like breath work and like vocalization. And so I remember the guy that ran this thing, he was the host of the event, but then when it came time to like being really sexual, he was so crazy with his vocalization that it like made everyone else go, what the fuck?
You're ruining my vibe.
Yeah, you're totally ruining my vibe, dude. He'd be like, oh, and then when he'd finally come, it was like, he'd be like, and he came, and then he just kept like seizing on the floor, like in the corner, and like there was guys like holding him, and then some of us were like, oh shit, do we need to call like the ambulance?
Wow.
Like, is he dying? But he would like, he was convulsing for like a good 10 minutes.
Amazing.
Not like consistently, but it was like, it would be like, he'd be like fine, and then he'd be like, doink! Wow. He'd be like, okay, you're still orgasming? Or like,
good for him. I'm almost like...
Yeah, are you empty yet? Like, what's happening?
I'm almost kind of jealous. Imagine having a 10-minute orgasm.
Yeah, but I don't believe it. Like, I just didn't...
You think he was faking it?
Yes.
Oh.
Like, okay, so I'm one of... Okay, I've mastered something, and that is I can have multiple orgasms as a guy, which is like very ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, meaning I can have an orgasm and then I can have another one a minute later, and then I can have another one 30 seconds later.
What?
And I've done it with partners. I've done it by myself.
How do you... does that... I mean, practice, but
it
also...
It comes from a lot of practice. But, and it's very common with women.
Yeah. But
it's just not common with men. But I still am not on the floor 10 minutes later going, doink! Like, I'm just like, this guy is another level.
Okay, I feel like your listeners need a bit of a download on how to achieve your multiple orgasms.
Oh, like I'm gonna give a lesson, a tutorial.
Well, maybe you don't have to do it with me in the room, but
Oh,
or you
no.
can if you want to. But that seems like some good sex advice. Like you should have like what you call it, like a side quote, a pull out quote version equivalent on podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of cool.
Um,
Like a table that.
we'll do an episode about multiple orgasms. I mean, it's like, well, first I'll say this, like, multiples. Okay, so like a lot of times, like guys will have an orgasm, and they they get really sensitive afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially like the glands of the penis are like so sensitive you can't even touch it. And if you do, they go like, whoa! Like they're like, I can't.
Yeah.
I don't have that feeling after an orgasm. I feel like it's like it doesn't orgasm and then it's done. It's like I orgasm and then the longer I wait, it's pulling away. That feeling is subsiding. But if I slowly come back in with something, not like intense, but just like softer, and I feel like I can only describe this. I'm doing bear claws, with my, but also I'm like a good buzz still. If you just like slowly bring it back, you can get back to that place again. And then you're like, and then like, and then like, it's like slowly, it's like waves of the ocean. It's slowly drawing itself back, and then you say like, no, but I'm still interested.
Are the orgasms less intense? Like each subsequent orgasm less intense than the first one? Or it depends.
I don't know. I think
Great.
I think they're just as good. And it's not as and it's okay. So like I think like if you were like to measure it by like, you know how much ejaculate there is, like it might be less each time. You know you've only got so many sperms.
Yeah.
At a time, but it's not really about that. You're like consumed with like the experience, so it's like I don't even really know like what was happening there. But is that common for you? Have you ever had that experience?
Yes. It's great. I think, but also because it's easier for a woman to have it. Like we get wrapped up. Like.
Well, let's say this. Some women, a lot of women can have multiple orgasms, and then a lot of women literally never have orgasms.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like all or nothing.
I'm very lucky in that I can orgasm, but I feel so sad for women who have to pretend or to.
Have you ever faked one?
Yeah, I just when like I want to like get it over with.
Yeah.
Yeah, like with like boyfriends who I'm just like, oh, I just like would rather just please you and just fill the role of girlfriend.
Yeah.
But it's so sad that women have to feel that way, and I wish that women could. I wish that like hetero sex was more about let's try to just do this, or we're just having sex and orgasm doesn't have to be the goal.
Right.
Yeah.
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 I think that's important. I think there's nothing wrong with an orgasm, but I definitely think there needs to be a lot leading up to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in some cases, you really can't have an orgasm if there's not enough leading up to it.
Yeah, sex is still fun without orgasm.
I think sometimes what I don't like about porn is when they're like, did you order a pizza with extra sausage? And then all of a sudden they're like having hardcore sex. And you're like, stop telling people to do that. First of all,
It's
You
so
ate at
unhealthy.
least 2 pieces of that pizza.
I know.
And then they fucked.
Oh, I know. You got like pizza belly and you might feel bloated. So gross. So gross. But now I kind of want to eat pizza.
I didn't make pizza.
We can have mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese.
The mac and cheese is delicious.
Oh my god.
I feel like we are full circle now, aren't we? We're
Yeah.
back to the religion talk.
It always comes back to religion. We have so much shame.
Which is weird because I'm not religious at all. Even though...
Neither am I.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel like I don't need religion to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just feel like in my heart, it's good to be good to people. Like, just be good to other people.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's really how God communicates with me. It's like, just what does my heart say? Oh, that's what God wants.
Do you find God through yoga or through meditating or through...
Just like communal masturbation. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a spiritual thing too.
Unless that one guy's there again.
You're just ruining it for everyone.
God damn it, Jimmy. Is there anything else like you feel like you
I feel like
want to tell the world about sex?
maybe in the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to have you on a lot.
Yeah. Recurring guest.
Recurring guest, Priscilla, queen of what?
The
Of the
bears.
bears.
Yeah.
Queen of the bears. If you had that title and you went back to New York, that would be quite the title. There's a lot of bears in New York.
I should start like a Vogue house called the Bear House.
The Bear House.
Yeah.
Oh, one more
House of
thing.
Bears.
Thanks, Priscilla.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Internet.
Thanks, interwebs. How do I turn this fucking thing on? All right, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope that this episode was fun for you to listen to. Like I said, I loved making it. I loved editing it. The first time, I loved editing it again just recently. And if you guys like this, you know, you can still access the first season, second season, and I think the third season now is in subscription. If you haven't had a chance to hear some of these early episodes, I think they're like a bit raunchier. So go ahead and in the show notes, there's a link to where you can subscribe for $2.99 a month to listen to those initial seasons where we really just let it rip. Obviously rate, review, subscribe. If you want to write in, makesexwithmepodcast@gmail.com. And of course, you guys, I hope that you are filling your holes with whatever makes you happy. Bye-bye. I love you, Leela.